Welcome back, everybody, to the the Draft Degenerates podcast. We're doing it. We're doing it. It's the quarterback class. Just, I, just read what we have under our names, guys. I don't really know what. I mean, the best introduction that I can give is that, don't stay in school,
Fours
kids.
the friends we made along the way.
Yeah.
I like that.
Dalton's, take his message with a grain of salt, depending on who's reading that.
Don't stay in school, kids.
Yeah.
Don't stay in school.
If you are a draftable quarterback and
Correct.
you may have only ruined your stock, who is going to be like literally almost everyone except for the guys who weren't eligible before this year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And we have more guys actively trying to stay in college and ruin their draft stock.
Yeah, not only actively through the courts. We're getting lawsuits to stay in school. Incredible stuff. They used to just let you do that. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to be interesting to talk about some of these guys. There is one player, of course, Dalton's alluding to, Trinidad Chambliss, who will be on our ranking for now, because please just stop.
Make him go.
Make him do it. Like, I don't really trust the court system, especially nowadays. But if there's one thing I could ask them to do for me right now, other than things we're not going to get into in this one, just make him go. Make him go to the NFL, man.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to fight.
No.
He can sit behind Rodgers for a year.
If Rodgers is on this team, nothing matters anyway. So I don't care. Actually, you can do whatever you want. Anyway, we're not starting this conversation with this. We're not doing it. You guys, you're not getting me because you already have your situation settled. I don't want to hear it right now.
Reality is slowly setting in.
You're not dragging me into this one. Anyway, no, we're gonna go through our top 10 mercifully quarterbacks in this class. A lot of people are probably not going to do top 10s because why? But we have to do it. That's kind of the whole point. But no, we'll get into somehow honorable mentions, which I actually think is going to be an interesting conversation because I feel like we said this pre-show. There's going to be some big differences in our list potentially because of how weird this quarterback class is. So some of our own mentions, some of us might be top 5 quarterbacks in this class. Who knows? I don't know. Point is, it'll be a fun show, if not a difficult to kind of explain show, if nothing else. But let's kick things off with honorable mentions. Dalton, I think that you definitely want to probably kick us off here because we already know one guy who we're pretty sure is not going to be in your top
10. I'll leave him because I know he's on your list.
Okay.
Curious if you guys have this guy on your list as a guy I expected to have in my top 10.
Okay.
And then I was like, what's the world thinking here? Cole Payton was my quarterback 11 out of North Dakota State. Where did he end up for you guys?
He was 10.
We're already kicking it off. Number 4, baby.
No
way.
Number
4.
Shane.
Yes.
I love it.
Shane.
Yes.
All right.
Listen, I'll get on my pedestal about it later. I want to hear what you guys say about it first because you're closer together.
Such a great start.
I love it.
So for me, he looks fantastic on tape, but the tape is useless. The tape is just literally useless. You might as well you could watch somebody, like his tape would be as useful as watching somebody play a season of NCAA 26 on Xbox with North Dakota State. And watching that would tell you about the same things about what he's good at. I mean, he looks like he is very talented. He's got lots of physical gifts, but he's not playing real football. And I shared this stat with you guys the other day.
Yeah.
I could not believe when I noticed this man has never thrown 25 passes in a single college game. That feels impossible. He hasn't needed to, but that's part of the issue with his tape.
Yeah,
if anyone should have gotten a waiver to stay another year, it's this guy. And he should be transferring to an SEC school or a Big Ten school.
Yeah, that would have been good to see for sure.
Because I just don't know what to do with the tape. Also, he's not he has zero anticipation. He just runs around until somebody's wide ass open and hits him. And it usually works because he's got an NFL receiver throwing to him, or to throw to. He's got several NFL offensive linemen in front of him, and he's playing against the guys that are going to be selling insurance in 3 years. Like, let's be very clear about what this is. Oh, and it's so bad that Jake left.
Okay, well, I was going to let Jake go next, but hopefully he can rejoin us in a minute. Listen, I'm not really going to argue too much with you on most of those points, but like in this class, man, his physical tools stood out to me, and I'm willing to take a gamble on him. Like, I'm just at this point, like the more I watched of other guys, I wanted to keep moving them down. I did. And honestly, like you could probably convince me of like it's just not worth it at that point, and that there's other guys that like have higher floors that might actually like be on your roster long term and might, you know, because this guy could easily flame out quickly, right? Like it's just possible, right? But the other guys that I thought had decent physical tools, I don't feel any better about being NFL caliber starters or players. And at least with this guy, I've seen him be able to be somewhat successful, even if it's in a weird offense in a weird situation at the FCS level. Like I get that part of it. I just, again, with where he's at, with where this class is at, if I'm taking someone late on day 2 to be a potential like starter eventually, who's going to need time to get there, I'd rather have him over all the other guys that fit that profile. Just because I think that the ceiling on him is better than those other guys, because they're either not as talented, not as well built for the position, don't have the rushing upside that he has. I do think he's a legitimate like weapon in the run game.
Yeah, he probably is running back.
And sure, worst case scenario, there you go, I guess, right? Maybe he could do something like that. But realistically, like I think he just has the best combination of traits, and in a class where there isn't really any traits in most of these guys, in my opinion at least, I'll take a gamble on him. So that's where he ultimately lands.
Fair.
It's a tough ranking because, again, I don't feel good about it, frankly, but I also don't feel good about almost anything in this class. So like that's kind of what happens in this situation.
I mean, if he showed the same tape as what I saw like on a Big Ten field, I could see it.
Yeah, it'd be different, but we just didn't see it.
Yeah, we just didn't see it. And
like,
and that is like a rule of thumb with scouting is you don't like, you know, you go by what you see, not what you're unsure of, you know.
Yeah,
just because the guy hasn't shown he can do it doesn't mean he can't. But like,
you're right. Like it's really a total projection.
Yeah.
It just is. Like, and for me, it's just, again, because of the nature of this class, that's why he ends up where he does.
That's fair.
Most of the other guys that I have in this class, to me, are either like true like long shot developmental guys, which he kind of is too, but like he has better tools than a lot of the other ones, or are backup types to me. Like just guys I straight up think are just backups long term. With Peyton, you're going to have to deal with the fact that like there's a chance that he doesn't do anything at all. Like, right, he's just out of the league quickly or not playing quarterback. But he has, I think, a higher chance of reaching something beyond just a backup level than a lot of the other guys do.
My worry is, how do you make that happen? Because he's going to have to develop and get reps. And when do you have him do that?
That's the problem. It depends. Like, you're gonna have, like, it's gonna have to be somebody who has a settled quarterback position right now, but doesn't know about the next couple of years into the future, but doesn't want to invest like a late first, early second round pick in the position. Like, could this be a spot for like? Could he end up on a team like the Rams or something?
Yeah,
where Stafford is there.
That way is kind of my worry.
I think being in an NFL program and learning the offense is most important for him, because he just didn't have to, like, the offense he ran at NDSU just doesn't. It's not an NFL offense, right? Like, until he can actually operate within an NFL offense, which you won't be able to know until he actually learns one. I think that's probably chief concern number one, is getting him up to speed in that way. Getting used to the speed of the game, in practice and in the preseason, maybe opportunities in games at times. Like, because I think he is a legitimately good enough runner where you could put him in the game for things. Like, I do think that's an element of this game you could use. I just, again, in this class, there's a reason. Like, I don't feel great about him working out, but I think that the optimum ending for him is better than the rest of the guys below him. Yeah, basically. So
had a good Senior Bowl.
Yeah, he did apparently do well at the Senior Bowl. So, but Jake will be rejoining us in a minute. Hopefully, his internet for some reason decided to die. So But I'll do an honorable mention. We can get his thoughts on Peyton, and also if he has any honorable mentions once he gets back on here. First one I want to mention, and I'm wondering if you guys even watched this guy.
Peyton was 10 for him.
Yeah, he was 10 for him. So we know that he's on the list there for him. And I want to see if he has similar thoughts to you, where it's like, I don't know what to do with him, but he's an interesting guy, or is he kind of more like closer to me, just not willing to put him as high as I did? So that'll certainly be interesting to see. But I mentioned this guy when we were talking about this show beforehand, before we actually started watching quarterbacks fully. I have him at, let me pull it up again, number 11. Ethan Kaliakmanis out of Rutgers is my number 11 quarterback.
Yeah, he was another guy that I thought I was going to like more. He ended up being 9 for me, but it's worth noting that 6, 7, 8, and 9 all have 4th round grades for me.
Okay, so you actually end up with a little higher than me, which is funny. So
yeah,
I like him, but I do think there's just kind of a hard ceiling there that like kind of kept me from keeping him. Yeah, and that you could say the same about the next couple guys in front of him. So you could really switch out him, and I think it would be, if I'm just going off of purely grades, like at least number 10, if not maybe number 8 and 9 too, depending on how you view those guys. Yeah. But I felt like everyone ahead of him either had a little bit higher of a ceiling or maybe even a little bit higher of a floor. There's one thing about him that kind of knocked him that I'll get to when I want to see if Jake can get back on and talk about him a little bit too. Speaking of which, here we go. Welcome back to the world of living. Are you good?
There we go. Yeah, my internet just decided to shut off.
That happens. Mine just sometimes glitches and I have to come back on. Yeah. But so we were obviously talking about Cole Payton. So you had him at number 10. You can give your thoughts on him in a second. But I just mentioned my number 11 quarterback, and Dalton's number 9 is Ethan Kaliakmanis out of Rutgers. Where did you have him, Jake? If you watched him,
I did not watch him.
Okay, so you didn't watch him. Cool. So that makes the issue. Give us your thoughts on Cole Payton real quick, and then we can talk about Kaliakmanis for a second.
Okay. From what I heard before I got thrown into the void, from Dalton, I pretty much agree with. I mean, it's just kind of, given his situation, it's just kind of hard to analyze because, like, I watch a lot of FCS football, and North Dakota State is just not like they should be an FBS program. And they probably would have been like a top like 40 FBS program this year at least. So
yeah,
when you're dominating just every game, it's just kind of hard to really like truly evaluate that. I mean, he's a big running threat. He can throw the ball into tight windows. He's tough in the pocket. He's efficient. But I don't know. It's just hard for me to really. I just need to see it against teams that aren't like 5 times worse than his team is.
That's the thing, and just to sum it up quickly, why I had him at 4 is it's really just totally about projection. Like in a class like this, where I don't see many guys who have a combination of traits, experience, and like tape that I can trust, I just kind of defaulted as I watched more and more guys. I'm like, if I'm taking a swing on someone who could maybe be a starter, like he's probably the first guy off after the top 3, is what I kind of ultimately landed on. Like there's guys below him on my list that I'd feel more confident about being long-term NFL quarterbacks, whether it's backups or not. But I think the ultimate, where he could land ultimately at the end of his development is just higher than those guys, in my opinion. So in a normal class, I'd be more inclined to leave him lower because I'd feel much better about quarterbacks, 2 through 8 or whatever. I really don't in this year. So it's kind of just where he ended up based on that. So. And then Kaliakmanis, Dalton, I'll let you start since you actually have him higher than me. Since I have him 11, you have him at 9. Just talk about him a little bit. What do you thought with him?
So I think you kind of mentioned it. The ceiling is really the hard thing to project.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like one of the things that I do really like is he's very intentional with his ball placement.
Yes.
On the short and intermediate stuff, especially like he knows how to put his receivers in the right position. To make plays and trying to protect them and like steer them away from their defender so they can secure the catch.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that's really nice. I also, one of the things that I really liked was one-on-one matchups, like if he sees one-on-one, he's just going for it.
Yes, he is an attacking in that way kind of guy.
He's like, you know what, I'm gonna, and he had the receivers to do it.
Yeah, Ian Strong was really good.
I do worry he's gonna throw a lot of picks at the next level.
That's part of
yeah, because like the arm talent is just it's all right.
It's good. It's just not special by any means.
Yeah, and like I don't know, he's also like got very little escapability at the next level. I mean, right now it works because he's 6'4", 215. Like, and most college athletes just aren't that well built. But at the NFL, he's not running away from anybody.
Not really.
And let's put it this way: he's not running away from anybody under 300 pounds, and even then, it's going to be dicey.
There's some 300 pounders you're going to hawk him down. Yeah. There's a couple of those in the NFL.
Yeah.
Just because.
Also, I think the biggest thing that kind of kept me, I had a 4th round grade on him. The biggest thing I do worry about too is the panic throws when under pressure. Sometimes he's just like, "Oh my god!" And there's a few guys that do that on this list.
This is not a unique situation for him. The thing that ultimately kept him below like number 10 on my list, who I think is you could interchange these two in a lot of ways, and we'll get to him when we get officially into our top 10s, even though we've heard a few of the names already. His pressure to sack ratio, like that's a number that I think is indicative, especially the college level, where like if you cannot escape or not, and you're not able to avoid sacks at the college level, it probably isn't going to get significantly better at the next level, especially if you aren't a good athlete, right? Which I would not say is a good one. He is a solid one for his size, and at the college level especially, it was almost 30%. Like that's just a rough number, and it shows up on tape. Like he takes some rough sacks at times. And I think part of the reason why you get those panic throws is because he knows he takes a lot of sacks, and sometimes he's trying to not take those sacks, so he just rips a throw to nowhere or to no one in particular. It's like he feels to me like a guy that he is certainly like a point and shoot passer. Like he is a on target, really good with his ball placement, like you said, short to intermediate throws. Will take those one-on-ones. He is a matchup hunter in that way. Like he will do that for you. But I do think he's kind of capped as like a really low end, like fringe starter in certain situations, and more likely a backup that can probably win you some games if you have the right talent around him.
Yeah, backup on a good team would be ideal for him.
Yeah, that'd be great for someone like him for sure. And then Jake, did you have any honorable mentions you want to throw out there? Oh, you are muted still, just so you know.
Nope. I think his internet's cutting out again.
Oh, no. You're good now, Jake. I think you should.
Oh, there we go. Am I back?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, perfect. Yeah, my internet is just lagging today, I guess.
Very good.
I'll throw out
honorable mentions.
Luke Altmaier. Did you guys have him on here?
He is 13 for me.
I happily forgot about watching him.
There we go.
And I really didn't want to watch him. And yeah, you guys can't make me watch him.
That's okay.
I refuse.
I knew you weren't going to probably, but he also was 13 for me, so like not that it matters at all.
Like did you have fun watching him?
No.
I watched him enough because I made the mistake of betting on Illinois so much.
That's right. I remember.
I made that mistake too many times, and that forced me to watch him, and I've seen enough.
Yeah. The backup back up to ever back up. So
that's a good description. I like that.
Yeah. I don't know if we really need to go too much. I mean, if you have thoughts on him, Jake, by all means, but
not any strong ones. We don't really have to go too in depth.
You can give your analysis.
I mean, there's a lot of guys in the class. He's one of those interesting like QB prospects where there's not that much to him, but like he makes some clutch plays here and there. Like he had some nice clutch drives in his career. He's tough, very tough. I mean, he takes some shots, and he always like that's. I don't really know how else to describe it. He takes a lot of hits, but he's very tough. He doesn't like shrink under. Those are some things that I do like. I think he processes things pretty well. Like he
Yeah.
never really holds on to the ball too long. He's able to get through his reads pretty quick. But there's just definitely some limitations. I mean, his frame isn't really ideal. Under pressure, he sails a ton of throws, which is going to be a huge problem in the NFL. And something that I noticed with a lot of QBs in this class. Not really much of an athletic ceiling. His arm talent isn't that great, and his pocket awareness is good at times. It's just not as consistent as I'd like it to be. So all those things kind of forced him out of my top 10, which is kind of tough in a class like this. But yeah.
Is it fair to say, and you guys that watched him, is he just is it just NPC power 4 quarterback? Is that what he is?
Kind of.
He's an NPC quarterback.
I think like let me put it to you this way. His best case scenario in the NFL, and this would be pushing it, is like Brian Hoyer.
I was gonna say Ben DiNucci.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could comp almost anyone who isn't an NFL quarterback to Ben DiNucci. So like I don't know if that's really I don't know if we're really moving the needle much on that one.
No.
But Brian Hoyer is like the guy that I think of because he's like the classic like zero traits, all just spunk guy. It's pretty much what Luke Altmaier is. It's like, all right, like you probably someone will be a fan of you on whatever team you're the third quarterback for next year. Like that's some dude that's like put Luke in, put my
some team with a bad like veteran starter.
Yeah,
give the 7th round guy a shot.
Literally, that's literally what it's going to be. I can.
He'll be the Browns' third quarterback.
Why not? Yeah. There is one
what
other
a depressing quarterback room that would be.
Oh my god, I don't even want to talk.
Shador, Deshaun
Altmaier,
and Luke Altmaier.
Dylan Gabriel and
Dylan
Luke Altmaier fighting for QB3 spot. Jesus Christ. There's one other honorable mention of mine that I have to throw out there because I already know I'm going to hear it from both of you. I feel like on this player because I desperately wanted to enjoy watching him and to be able to convince myself of the flashes, but I just see a dude who's going to be a tight end in like 3 years, and unfortunately it's Taylor Green out of Arkansas.
Oh,
he's my number 12 quarterback. I simply am like this dude. I just don't think he gets it at quarterback. I really don't. Like, I just saw too many of like, what in the world are you thinking right now? It was too many of those for me. And
there's a reason for it though. I'll let you guys go.
Yeah. Where did you have him, Jake?
Yeah.
So he was 4 for me.
Okay.
Oh wow, right. He was 5 for me. Okay. So.
I knew that this was gonna be. It was gonna be the Cole Payton and the.
But it kind of is 4. It's 4 in like a pretty awful class. So. Like that's
literally the same thing for me. Is like it was gonna be like, do I like Taylor Green or do I like Cole Payton's like ceiling? And it was the opposite of you two. That's literally what happened here. I knew that was gonna happen, and I was like, I can't wait to see if that's what it is, and that's what it was. So no, you guys got.
I'll let you go, Jake. You can go.
Okay. He's an interesting prospect because he's definitely raw. But there's just a lot of tools that I think give him a high enough ceiling to get that high up on my ranking. I mean, the RPO and play action game with him works really well. One little thing I really liked is I think he sells things very well, like especially in play action. He's very good on those. He'll like completely turn his back on the fake handoffs, and he sells them pretty well. He's got really good arm talent. He can throw to all areas of the field. Obviously there's his mobility. But I think that gives him a pretty good ceiling in the NFL with how the game is kind of trending at that position. There definitely are a lot of things he needs to refine. Like he has a lot of instances where he just like the defense will give him an easier throw and he doesn't really take it and he'll try to force it into a tight window instead. His mechanics are a little bit inconsistent, especially with his footwork, I think. I guess patience maybe is how I'd say it. I just think he needs to like just take what the defense has given him more. I think he just tries to force things too often. He's always kind of looking for the big play, which I guess when you are playing for Arkansas in some of these games, maybe you kind of do need to do. So
Yeah.
I get that a little bit. Like I get the desire to kind of play hero ball there. I just think it's gonna have to be refined a bit in the NFL. So there definitely are a lot of things that need to be refined, but I think in a class like this, with some of the tools that he does have, I think his ceiling is really high compared to a lot of the rest of the guys. So it's definitely more of a question mark, but that was kind of why I had him up at 4.
Yeah. I'm with you. He definitely presses at times, but I think if there's ever been somebody that has needed to press, it's Jalen Green. So when they played Ole Miss this year, who Ole Miss pretty good, right? You know, college football semifinalist team. Arkansas's offense, they punted one time, and they still lost the game 41-35. Another example, the Notre Dame game. The Notre Dame game. This is ridiculous. Because I was watching the tape and I was like, how are they still losing all these games? Like he's not the reason why they're losing. And I was trying to figure out what it was. So the Notre Dame game, first half, Arkansas's offensive drives were field goal, punt, touchdown, punt, and then a fumble not by Taylor Green. No, they still scored 13 points in the first half against Notre Dame. They were losing 42-13. Every single Notre Dame drive ended in a touchdown in the first half. Every single one.
Arkansas's football, baby.
Like, and the A&M game, same thing. He played really, really well in that game, and it didn't matter. I believe, let me double check. Yeah, they punted twice the entire A&M game, and they still lost. They still got outscored in that game. Like no matter, and like a lot of those games ended because of fumbles by his teammates. I believe both the Ole Miss game and the A&M game, he had a teammate fumble towards the end of the game, or one of them was the Memphis game too. That happened in the Memphis game. I think the Mike Washington, fumbled at the end of that game. Like that Arkansas team was just kind of cursed. And
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I get he hasn't really fully maximized his physical tools, and it's been 5 years. And yeah, you definitely have to wonder if it's ever going to happen. That's why I have a late 3rd round grade on him. Especially because I do think, like, you know, he's had a lot of half field reads with the RPO game. I do think like there's going to be some growing pains, but I mean, the athleticism, the effortless throwing ability, like he's got a ton of arm talent. That release, he gets the ball, like it's got a lot of snap to it. The throw power's there. He's also shown a good amount of touch too. Like, I just think that, especially in this class, there's a chance. Like, there's enough physical tools there where I feel like if you have a compensatory pick at the end of the 3rd round, you're like, yeah, let's throw one at this guy, because you just never know. And like guys with his physical tools don't come around very, very often. And I mean, the running ability is, not only is he athletic, but he has really good vision too. There's just a lot to like about him that I'm willing to overlook some of the other things. I think we'd be thinking about him very differently if he played at Alabama.
Maybe. I think for me, ultimately, like, I understand the physical tools. The thing I will say, and this is just maybe something that I felt, and I know that this is not very common that people say this, I wasn't as impressed with his overall arm talent as I thought I was going to be. I think it's good. I think it's like a B-ish, B-plus arm. But I was expecting, A arm with him, with his frame and with the way people talked about him. I didn't really see that personally. I still just think he just doesn't see the game well enough to me for him to be someone, especially who's played as much as he has.
Yeah.
And has been in the college as long as he has. I worry that he won't figure it out, because there's not even the benefit of he didn't play at a high level college. He didn't play in like a certain offense. Like with Peyton, I feel like he has a chance to, because he does not have a ton of bad habits already. He doesn't have a ton of those things because he didn't really actually even at NDSU didn't play that much ultimately. He really only started this past year. Like I like to think that he has similar, especially like throwing mechanic tools to work with, versus someone like Green, who I wonder if this is kind of what he is. And if that's the case, he's a great athlete who probably will stick in the NFL doing something. Honestly, like that's the type of athlete we're talking about. But I wonder if it's not going to be a quarterback ultimately, which would be interesting to me. I don't know if that's something that he's able to do or would consider doing if it doesn't work out. But I do expect him to be drafted closer to where you guys have him, by the way. Like I do think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think Terrell Pryor is a really good comp for him.
I can see that.
Like, I mean, he's so athletic. And, Terrell Pryor, I feel like we've all said, had he been in a different situation or maybe came into the league 5 to 7 years later, he probably never ends up playing wide receiver. He probably sticks as a quarterback at least a little longer.
Yeah, or just even if he came in under different circumstances, frankly, maybe.
Yeah,
because that whole thing was something.
Yeah. You're saying it was probably not good that he had to go through the supplemental draft because he traded autographs for tattoos, and then have to go to the Raiders at a time where Al Davis, senile in his bed, was making all the team decisions.
We could get into that if we want, but no. So basically, you guys feel the way you do about Green, the way I feel about Peyton, and that's the difference between it. And that's funny because again, it works out where like it's basically just swapping those guys out for the most part. I know Jake still had him in his top 10, but that's definitely the guys that I would want to talk about honorable mention wise if we want to get into the top 10s officially here.
Yeah.
All right. So Dalton, I know that we haven't given our top 10 yet. I know Jake, or our number 10 yet. Jake has Cole Payton at 10, so I'll let you start with 10 here for you.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Okay. So my 10 is Cade Klubnik from Clemson.
Okay.
He's 8 for me.
I wonder if this is another thing where like the player I have at 10 is the player you have at 5, and vice versa, or something like that. Because I have Klubnik at 5.
Okay. So I get it.
Yeah.
And I might be a little low on him. I just think like, I do like that, he has NFL tools in terms of size, mobility. He is very decisive. He's pretty accurate too. Which I do think I think he has a very high floor in the NFL. I just don't see much of a ceiling. The timing is I just feel like he just doesn't have a good feel for timing with stuff. Like everything just seems to come out like a hair late for whatever reason. And I just don't know. And I feel like that's only going to get worse transitioning to the speed of the NFL. And I do think he's going to be less effective with his legs at the next level. I do think he's another guy that makes those panic throws at times, especially when pressured. It just feels like a college quarterback. I mean, this to me feels like, I feel like best case scenario is Colt McCoy.
The old Colt McCoy comp. Hey, Colt McCoy played a long time in the NFL. Let's respect.
He did. He didn't play at a high level in the NFL.
No, he did not.
But yeah,
and most of the guys in this class are not going to, just throwing that.
I mean, and if you really think like the best you're going to get out of him is Colt McCoy, that's a 5th round pick.
Yeah, probably. I'm a little higher on him, obviously. Jake, where did you say where you had him? I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was 8 for me.
8 for you. That's right. Let me make sure I make note of that.
Yeah.
So I'll let you talk about him next year then, because I have him the highest here.
I kind of, as Dalton was alluding to, I think he just processes things kind of slow. Like when he's like on time and the timing is working, he looks pretty good. But I think when defenses blitz, he's good at picking that apart. Like he's good at finding the empty spot and hitting like a quick read on that. But when he just has to like just drop back and the defense is like rushing forward and just sitting back in coverage, I think he just processes things too slow. And kind of as Dalton said, I don't really see that getting better at the NFL level. A lot of the things that like I wanted to have him a little bit higher than 8 because I do think he does a lot of things well. Like he has a pretty good athleticism for the position. There are instances where the timing is working and he does process things well. He has some good mobility. It's just, for me, the problem was consistency with a lot of things. Like he shows traits of all the things you want to see, but there's too many just bad like reps sprinkled in. Like I don't know. The issues with processing things, especially after the snap. He's kind of inconsistent when there's pressure. Sometimes he feels it and he'll show off his athleticism and make a nice play running or scrambling. And then sometimes he just doesn't see the pressure at all and just takes a hit. So there's a lot of things to like, but he's just got to be more consistent. And that was why he was down at 8 for me.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Like for me, one of the reasons he ended up at 5 for me is because with the way, and I think I'm going to do this with all the Clemson guys, the stark difference between what that team looked like in 2024 versus 2025 made me kind of want to watch a little bit of both of the years of the last, because I tend not to do that too much with guys, especially if they either didn't play as much the year before or if it was a much different situation or whatever. But I feel like if I just watched this year's tape, he'd probably be closer to 7 or 8, where kind of you have him, Jake, especially. Yeah. But I think the best version of him is a guy that I think could be like, and I've kind of ripped on this player a little bit since he got in the NFL because I think people overhype him, but like I could see him being like a Bo Nix level starter for a team. Like that's kind of what I think the ceiling on him could be. And in this class, if I'm not going for like the huge ceiling guy, which is for me Peyton at this point, and for you guys would be Green, he feels like a kind of middle ground of like, yeah, I might be getting a potential like fringe or like very close to the middle of the pack starter at best, or I'm probably getting a guy that's going to be really a good backup for a long time. And I have a late day 2 grade on him, late 3rd round, take a chance on him, see if he can develop into something a little bit, see if you can get him, more comfortable in rhythm. And one of the things I liked about him over some of the other guys is that under pressure, especially, he didn't really put the ball in harm's way a lot, especially from a numbers perspective. Like one of the lowest turnover-worthy play rates of anyone in the class when under pressure. Didn't do as much, beating it as he did in 2024 as he did this year, or did that less than he did last year. But he still was playing within himself for the most part. And I think that showed up in those moments a lot. And he is a good enough athlete for me to think that he can, like, in the meantime, if he has to play early, can at least move the chains, be able to do something and have some sort of a floor at the next level. So that was enough to move him up to 5. And again, he's the last guy I have with a day 2 grade, and it's very much the end of the 3rd round type of grade. So
yeah, I get that.
All right. So,
oh boy, this kind of feels like it's not as bad as the Quinn Ewers thing, but like kind of reminds me of it. Carson Beck is my number 10.
Ooh.
I really didn't enjoy watching him play football. I really didn't. I liked everything Miami was doing around him, but I didn't like watching him play football this year or the last year. Where did you guys have that?
He's 6 for me.
Okay, that's kind of.
He's 6 for me also.
Okay, cool. So, kind of what I was thinking is that would be a difference. Was it going to be Klubnik back and stuff like that? Yeah, like I think the arm is worse now than it was at Georgia. I think the surgery that he had in his elbow is not fully. He's either not fully back from it, or that's what he is now. And his arm was already just okay, I thought before that, and I think it's worse now. I think he does a lot of things that will get him into a backup room and stay there for a long time at the NFL level. I think he processes relatively well. One of the problems too, and this kind of goes back to the Klubnik conversation I just had, he still melts down under pressure for me. I just think he cannot handle the pressure. And at the NFL level, if you can't, and he's shown that consistently through his career in college, and it's a lot of starts at this point, he does not handle pressure well. And that's something that if you're going to truly like melt down at times under pressure, I just can't really view you as a starting player at any point, especially someone who's played as much football as he has at the college level. It just worries me that he'll never be able to actually like hold down anything close to a starting job. And you combine that with I think the arm talent that has started to deteriorate a little bit. All the things that I kind of viewed as positives of him have gotten a little bit worse. It was hard to place him any higher than 10 for me.
Yeah. I definitely get the concerns about the arm. I think he's still, for me, I think it's the ceiling or it's the floor that I really like on him. It's
which is fair. Yeah.
I mean, I especially in this class, like I know I'm getting an NFL quarterback with him. I think
that's fair to say. Yeah.
Like I have a 4th round grade on him, and he's actually my highest ranked 4th round grade just because out of like all my 4th round guys, he's the one guy that I feel he's the only guy that I'm 100% sure I'm almost 100% sure will still be in the NFL in 5 years. The other 3 guys fair. That I have 4th round grades on could all probably have more starter potential, possibly. Kaliak Manis being one of them, but also all of those guys I could see flaming out of the league very, very quickly. And I think Beck's not going to do that. Probably not. And I'm curious to see what he would look like a year removed from the surgery.
That's my hope, is like I'm hoping that when we see him next, whenever that is, or however we see him, that the arm looks better.
Yeah.
Because it just felt like it wasn't there this year. And when it already wasn't great, it was hard for me to, that was part of the problem.
Yeah, I mean, the national championship game, that throw at the end was rough, and he
had those types of throws all season long.
He just can't push the ball with the. Yeah. I mean, he never was a guy who pushed the ball down the field at a high level, but like it was passable at least throughout his Georgia career. It just wasn't there this year.
Yeah, he'd make a very good backup to like Jared Goff.
Yeah, it's like this. It's just I don't know. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah. The kind of similar to what Dalton said. I think the floor is what gives him some credence here with me. He has some very bad reps on tape. There's one play against Notre Dame where it actually ended in a touchdown because his receiver made like a ridiculous one-handed catch, but
that helps. Yeah,
he was scrambling. And an edge rusher was right in his face, and he just like flailed backwards off one foot and threw the ball into triple coverage. And that to me was just like an example of all the things that are wrong with how he plays quarterback. I actually do think he deals with pressure well when it's like edge rushers that are winning up the field and he can step up in the pocket. He looks a bit more comfortable doing that. So he can't deal with pressure in his face, but that is at least like he can, like sense it and get out when he needs to, when it's behind him. So that gives me a little bit of confidence there. And I really just think like he feels like Davis Mills last year with the Texans to me, where like they needed to keep their season alive. Yeah, it's kind of a depressing comp, but I mean, they needed to keep their
somebody
season
to Brian
alive.
Hoyer a minute ago. So.
Yeah, like the Texans, they needed like 2 wins from Davis Mills to keep the season alive, and he came in and did just enough to win. And I think that's what Carson Beck could do. I mean, he was only in Miami for a year, and he had really good chemistry with his receivers. He understands timing, and he throws with anticipation, which helps make up for the lack of arm strength because he really cannot fit the ball in a tight window. I mean, he had some ugly interceptions. Like his interception against Indiana to end the game was pretty much like. I mean, those are the 2 biggest faults. Like he's not reading. It was a bad read, even if it was a good throw.
Yeah, it's a tough throw for any quarterback. And it's an impossible throw for
exactly.
It's a firmly put that back in the bag throw. Don't take that out of the bag.
I just had to write up a scouting report on him the other day for Steelers Depot. So I hate he's fresh on the mind, and it was not a fun experience, but I don't know. He just feels like Davis Mills to me. Like I think you can win 2 or 3 games with him if you need to. Like I think he can be a spot starter and come in and get that done. And in a class as bad as this, that's enough for him to be number 6 for me.
Yeah, it's fair. Again, I get the argument. I think if I wasn't so worried about the arm just disappearing a little bit, and I wasn't as worried about the pressure numbers when he's actively under pressure, where he just kind of like his overall like decision making wasn't terrible in college, but I think as soon as there's actual like pressure.
His decision making isn't bad, but when something's affecting the throw, that doesn't stop him from making the throw. Like he's just like there's so many times he's trying to throw the ball and he gets hit, and like as he's going to the ground, he's still trying to get the ball out, and it's like just hold on to it or something. Like he has so much confidence and just not even close to the arm talent needed.
Right. That's not usually a great combination of things. But yeah, so let's move on to number 9s here. Jake, I know number 9, or Dalton was yours. Number 9 was Kaliak Manis, so it's Jake and I have to give her number 9. So let's Jake, you go ahead and give number 9. I'm curious where we're going.
Okay, my number 9 is Sawyer Robinson.
Okay. Ooh. Okay, he is. Let me double check because I think he's number 8 for me. Okay,
he is 8 for me as well.
Okay, cool.
Okay, yeah, he's part of a group of this class that is just like, I guess you could say, just like NPC college football quarterback.
I have a thought on him, but I definitely it's similar to that, but like I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like he has enough tools to where like I could see it working in the NFL. Like he's a pretty good athlete. His legs can be a weapon at times. He's got good size for the position.
Mm-hmm.
His arm strength isn't that great, but I do like the way he can layer throws. Like he can layer them over linebackers in between safeties and stuff like that, which does make the lack of arm strength hurt a little bit less. I think he's good against zone coverage with anticipation. Like he knows where the openings are going to be, and he's on time pretty often with those. But there's just some drawbacks that like it's hard to feel like they're going to get that much better in the NFL. Like his accuracy, he's not super inaccurate, but he doesn't throw receivers open. Like if there's a defender on the inside shade of a receiver, he's not great at like pinning the ball on his outside shoulder. Like it'll be somewhere where the defender can.
The ball placement's not ideal.
I don't think he goes too deep into his progressions either, which I think will be definitely an issue at the NFL level. And like he's shown, like I mentioned the timing earlier, he's shown good timing before, but I think it needs to be a little bit more consistent. There are times when he's a little bit late to it. And then the last thing I noted, as I mentioned earlier, is the arm strength. He really can't push the ball down the field that well. He can throw a decent deep ball, but it's just not coming with a lot of velocity on it. So yeah, I could see him kind of going anywhere from like 7 to 10 on these lists, which is where we all have. But I don't know. Yeah, just NPC college QB. Like he has some good traits, but there's just drawbacks where it's just like I just feel kind of meh about him.
Yeah, he defaulted to find Michael Trigg a lot.
Yeah.
That's pretty much just it. It's like I can't really do anything else, so I'm just gonna give it to this guy, and he's a freak. So
yeah, so I'm gonna pull out something that I have not said in a very long time, and if a friend of mine would ever watch the show, it'll probably make him pull his hair out because it was a bit I used to do a lot. And it was a bit for sure, but it was also like being serious. But I just only defaulted to this as the bit, and it made him mad. Sir Robertson has Mark Sanchez syndrome, and when I say that, what I mean by that is he has arm arrogance without the arm. Yeah. He will sometimes try to rip throws and try to fit windows that his arm just can't cash. Those are checks that you can't cash, Sawyer. I'm sorry. And that's why he has one of the highest turnover-worthy play rates in this class. It's why he puts the ball in harm's way a lot. It's why there's a lot of questions about whether he can play the way he played at Baylor in the NFL, because he doesn't really have the arm talent to consistently threaten downfield all the time. He does struggle to drive the ball outside the numbers and past 20 yards. Like that's just something that is true about him. And so when you play like you have an A- or an A arm and you have a B- arm, you're going to get in trouble a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it honestly, part of the problem with him is that like I like some of the things he does, but if he is going to always play like that, then it's hard for him to even really be a consistent backup, because one thing you can't do as the backup quarterback is if you're not going to be able to make a ton of plays, you can't also make a ton of mistakes. And I worry that might be what happens to him if he has to play, starting snaps in the NFL. So he's a tough one to grade. I liked a lot of the stuff he did enough that I think he's a better player than the guys I have below him, obviously, and especially, Beck, because I think the number 9 guy on my list that I'll get to in a second, because I'm the only one who hasn't given the number 9 at this point, has more tools in him, but just has a lot of other issues that kind of make it hard to rank him higher. He's just a tough one to rank any higher than 8, I think, too.
Yeah. I'm with you guys. I have a 4th round grade on him.
Yeah, like a 4th or 5th, like early day 3. Yeah.
Just generally inconsistent. It was kind of one of the notes I wrote, and I have a comp for him. Another a guy with a career 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio.
Love it.
Jarrett Stidham.
Jarrett. I
This
know him
is
well.
Jarrett Stidham. More or less, this is a Jarrett Stidham type guy. Like he'll stay around, I think,
Move
as a
around a little
backup.
bit,
But someone will convince themselves for a hot minute that he can be a starter. But yeah, no.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you on that one. I just don't think he's got the starter arm, and certainly doesn't have the backup mentality. So what exactly do you do with that?
Yeah.
So it's a weird player. My number 9 player, which I won't be surprised if he's not on your list at all, and it's a personal kind of thing for me because I've enjoyed watching this player for several years now. But there's a lot of red flags with him, and it's just kind of unfortunate. Jalen Daniels is my number 9 quarterback out of Kansas. Not sure if either of you bothered to watch him.
I did not.
He was my 12.
12? Okay, fair enough.
I'm just afraid for him to be done. Like he
needs to stop playing college football, and luckily he is done playing college football.
For 10 years?
6 years. I think ultimately he would have been in the NFL sooner if he didn't have the back injury in 2023 that wiped out a season, and if he had a little bit better of a season, in 2024, probably would have been in that class. So and he's also still not that old in regard. I think he's about as old as a lot of the other guys in this class, 23, 24-ish, as far as I remember. But the thing with him, the first thing you have to talk about is he's had shoulder, back injuries, which never great at the quarterback position. No. He's a smaller player, at least in terms of height. He listed 6'2", 219 in his Shrine. So he's a thicker built guy. So it's not that he's necessarily small, but just not tall. But I gotta say, he's probably the 5th or 6th tallest guy in the class to me, especially as an athlete and as terms of just ability to push the ball down the field. I saw this guy put the ball in the air with pace 50, 60 yards down the field multiple times on tape. He can legitimately sling the ball down the field. And he really tried to do that a lot at Kansas. He wasn't a high volume passer this past year, but he was gunning it when he was. And it worked pretty well. That offense was pretty good. I think that with him, it's just is he going to be a guy because he's an older prospect and because he's been banged up? Is a team going to be willing to take a chance on him to be a developmental backup and then see if he has what it takes to be a starter? For me, I view him kind of as the perfect spot for him would be a Jalen Hurts backup in Philly, someone like that, where there's a lot of similarities to me about their games. I think Hurts is obviously better than him in a lot of things, but I think a lot of the same strengths, running the football, neither really attack the middle of the field very well, but will push the ball down the field. I think Daniels honestly has a better arm than Hurts personally, but I don't think he's as accurate as Hurts. So I think that's the ideal type of situation where he's in behind a quarterback that plays a lot like him in the NFL, and maybe he can learn from him. But I have him at 9 just because I think the tools are legitimately just better than a Beck or some of the other guys below him.
That's fair.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I mean, 2 years ago, 2 years ago, I loved watching him play college.
Oh,
I still do. He was one of my favorite players to watch. In recent memory in college, he's really fun at times, but I had too many concerns with the injuries. I mean,
right, that's part of the problem.
If I remember, he's had injuries to his shoulder, back, knee.
You definitely shoulder and back. I forget if the knee was a thing, but definitely shoulder and back.
Yeah, I thought I might be wrong on that, but yeah, the shoulder and back. That's scary.
Yeah. He's healthy all last year, as far as I remember. So, hopefully.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah. I don't know. The accuracy on his deep ball, I wasn't super impressed with.
Yeah.
I thought he could have a little bit better of pocket presence as well. He kind of drifts a little bit in the pocket, and I think that sometimes messes with his timing. I think he could process things a little faster under pressure.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't know. He was honestly one of the harder players for me to grade because I really do like watching him, and there's a lot of things he does well. I think those concerns were just a little too big for me to have him in my top 10.
Yeah, I think I think he is a Jalen Hurts light, which if you love Jalen Hurts, you're going to take that as a slight, and if you're like me and think rationally about Jalen Hurts, you're that's fine in like the 4th, 5th round because Hurts was a 2nd round pick.
Yeah.
Like I think that it's a similar skill set, right? Just not as good, at least not right now, as what Hurts was and is now. But really, again, really good athlete, should be able to be someone that can have a little bit of a higher floor because of the run game stuff. Now, obviously, the injuries. Do you want to run him a lot? It's a whole thing. But I felt like I wanted to give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt there and throw him at 9. So I honestly could have put him higher if I really wanted to. I decided not to be too crazy about it. So, but I think we're all caught up through 10 through 8 here. So let's get in. I think 7 is actually the one outside of the top 3, which obviously none of us were going to talk about yet. That we haven't at least said something about one of our 6, 7 or whatever. So I actually think I'll start at 7 here, and I wonder if we're gonna have the same guy here, maybe potentially.
Oh boy.
Is he big?
Oh no.
Is he or was he injured in the middle of this season?
Oh no.
Yeah.
And Dalton, if I were to say behind you right now, is the school that he went to featured prominently on something in your room currently?
Yes.
All right. Drew Aller is my number 7 quarterback.
I'm also worried because there's a smaller guy that you guys haven't mentioned yet. We talked about pre-show that you guys haven't named yet. I'm very scared that he's not. He's above 7 for both of you.
Okay. So, but no, I have him at 7. Jake, do you have him at 7? You said.
Yeah.
And where do you have Drew Aller, Dalton?
I have him at 7.
Okay, so we are aligned fully on this one. Wow. That is hilarious. All right. The Drew Aller conversation is one of the conversations of all time.
What round grade did we all have?
I had a 4th to 5th round grade.
I had a 4th round grade.
I had an early 4th.
All right.
We're all rated. Yeah.
Man.
I think.
He
is what he is.
Yeah, he's the picture in the dictionary of quarterback without any of the quarterback stuff. That's the thing. He is big,
maybe he
tall,
could be.
But maybe you never know. No, at the end of the day, this is a guy who has all the physical traits as a thrower, and he's big. He's not unathletic, but he's not a runner by any means. But man, he just does some dumb shit and also can't throw the ball accurately for shit a lot of the time, guys, and it's just frustrating.
Yeah. It's like when he's got a big time throw down the middle, he's ripping it.
Oh yeah, he rips
ball,
that bitch.
Ripping it outside the hashes. All the hard throws.
Yeah,
he is just ripping them. And then 5-yard out, he just can't do it.
No shot.
I've never seen a QB on film with like as much arm talent miss just so many easy like layup throws.
It's like he forgets.
Just misses some of the dumbest throws.
That's what I'm saying. It's like he if he has to think about it at all, it's over. Yeah. Like when it's a harder throw, he's just like, I gotta rip this thing, and that's all he thinks about, and it's fine. But as soon as it's like, I'm gonna don't mess this one up, Drew, and he just fucks it up. It's like, Drew, what the hell are you doing?
And unfortunately, that was the entire Penn State offense.
Correct. Yeah, that doesn't help.
Throwing passes to tight ends in the flat over and over and over again. Because why would we use our big-armed quarterback to do anything else? Why would we make him throw down the field? No, he's going to run RPOs with Nick Singleton, a power back who should get downhill as quickly as possible. They're going to stand there and run and decide on whether or not they should run or have Drew pull it for a half second first on every play and then run their play.
It was just everything about Drew Aller's tenure at Penn State was kind of a disaster. Yeah. Like even when it worked for 2024 and you got, close, it just, again, the ball placement is not great a lot of the time. Like even on the good throws that he makes, like it's usually not like pinpoint. It's like, I got it to the right spot and it was a rip and it was there so quickly. It doesn't matter as much because there's no one around, but like, just
there's
so
no growth.
No, he's the same dude.
And that's like my big concern on him was, and this is kind of why I couldn't put him on day 2, even though from a talent perspective, like I put Taylon Green day 2 just because of all the physical tools.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that with Drew Aller because the biggest concern I put is might be broken. Like, my
Yeah.
face might have legitimately just broke his
Yeah.
fucking
Might have
brain.
killed that man.
He has such like I still think he has a really high ceiling, but
Yeah.
he also
Theoretically, yeah.
could he also could have the lowest floor in my top 10. Like I feel like because there's so many things that he does inconsistent. Like if there's pressure, he has no mechanics. Like no, he will never throw the ball the same way twice under pressure. Like he just
No.
flings it out there. And then I feel like in his situational awareness in like crunch time just is not like there'll be times where his like they need a touchdown late in the game or something and it'll be 1st and 10 and he'll have maybe like an out route or an arrow or like some short route that's open where you can pick up like 6 yards or something and just keep the drive on schedule and he'll chase like a deep shot instead or something. I don't think he really understands when to make those type of throws, especially in crunch time moments. And
The
yeah, I don't
Oregon
know.
game this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he might have the highest ceiling and the lowest floor.
Yeah.
Like because he has, like Shane said, he has all. Like when you look at him, you think, oh, that's a really good quarterback.
No, that's
like
a quarterback.
He has arm strength. He's big. He's tough. He's competitive. Like those are all some of the top traits you want in a quarterback. It's just that he literally does everything inconsistently. So
Bill Polian would draft him first overall.
Yeah. Big moments are an issue. But also like they don't let him actually like play free until it's crunch time.
Yeah.
And it was just so infuriating. But no, problem is the floor on him is Christian Hackenberg.
yeah,
The ceiling is Big Ben. And
I don't know.
maybe. I mean,
maybe,
in theory.
yeah.
Theoretically,
yeah.
and I was like, well, what actually is he? And I think I finally figured out the comp.
Okay.
I think ultimately where he ends up being is Carson Wentz.
Oh. See, Wentz was a much better athlete, though.
Carson Wentz is a little faster, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like he was definitely a better, like, yeah. But I get the
Carson
idea
Wentz
that
post knee injury.
Okay, yeah, that which that's like that version of him got a lot of starts in the NFL, so maybe that's not the worst comp in the world if you're looking at the best outcome for him.
Yeah.
But no, like he's just a tough one, man. Like I will say I struggled not to put him at 6 ahead of the player I'm about to talk about because I think that this player has a very, very narrow keyhole they'd have to thread to be anything more than like a high level backup. And I think this is the player that Dalton has been waiting to hear where I have him. And maybe where Jake will have him too, obviously. But this is good old Nussmeier from LSU is my number 6 quarterback.
You guys are on the Nuss bus, which is a short bus.
In comparison to Dalton, absolutely. Most places I have him QB 3 or 4 in this class.
Yeah, those people shouldn't be allowed to talk.
Yeah, that's fair. Jake, where do you have him
at? He's 5 for me.
I thought so. Okay. So
12 for me.
I figured. So okay, here's the thing. Here's the problem with Garrett Nussmeier to start with, to where Dalton's probably at, is he is a big game hunter without the big game arm. He passes up a lot of throws that he absolutely probably should just take. And this goes back to 2024 and this year before he got shut down. And he was banged up this year. I did watch a little bit of last year too. Didn't really change my opinion on him too much. I think this is a guy who I do think he's a smart player. He just doesn't process things as well as he should because of the fact he's trying to find harder throws to make a lot of the time. Like I really think he sees those throws and just doesn't want to take them. I really do because I see his eyes go to him sometimes, and I'm like, just throw it.
He's like, nah.
It's not like it's a 5-yard throw. He's turning down like 15, 20-yard throw.
I know.
And then he ends up throwing the ball away.
A lot of times, for sure, yeah. Like he lets the pressure come in because he waits too long to make a decision. But I think there's enough things with him where I feel like when he is like playing on time and not doing the thing that Dalton just said, I think that there's some qualities that could make him a really good backup or a very low end starter, probably closer to being a backup. But I feel like he tries to play like Baker Mayfield without Baker Mayfield's like athleticism. Not that it's anything special, but he's a better athlete than than Nussmeier is, and his arm is not as good as Baker's is. And I think when you try to play like Baker Mayfield and you don't even have his tools, you get into trouble sometimes. And that's kind of the issue with him ultimately. But I saw enough of like when he's playing within himself, I do think he looks like he's a guy who understands how to play at the NFL level, which makes sense with his dad being a coach. Like there's very much like coach's son things going on with him, and not just the negative stuff of being like way too small, which he is. He's like 6'1", 202. That's a problem for sure too, especially with the injuries that he's had. But again, this class is not great, and I just feel like there's a little bit of a floor there that is better than some of the guys that we just talked about. So,
yeah, he will certainly be. I think a decade from now, he is going to be a hot head coaching candidate. As
probably,
Yeah.
probably. But
Yeah,
what do you think, Jake?
He kind of plays like Taylon Green a little bit, just with like way more talent around him in terms of like
less talent in his body.
Like in terms of being
He
like
took
his
all the talents,
gunslinger
shared it with his
mentality.
teammates.
Yeah, like he like there was one game I was watching film, and he like passed up like a 10-yard like wide open comeback, and he threw in a double coverage, and I literally just wrote down, I was like, stop doing that. Like,
yeah,
if
he would just do
that
that,
has
he'd be
to.
all right.
An NFL coach needs to just hammer into his brain to stop doing that, because his arm strength isn't very good. He's not able to drive the ball into those windows, and he really, really wants to, and that just can't happen in the NFL. But I think that is something that can be coached out, and kind of along the same lines of what I said about Carson Beck, where I think he can just be a spot starter here and there. I kind of feel that way about Garrett Nussmeier, because when he's not doing that stupid stuff, he does have a lot of good traits. I actually was more impressed with his athleticism than I thought I'd be, because he doesn't.
Move.
Yeah,
He just moved better than I thought. Like it was a little bit.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting much, but I thought that it'll be hard at the NFL level, but I was a little bit more impressed with his legs than I expected. I do think he understands the game well. Like he always throws where the blitz is coming from. I think he processes things pretty quickly. When he's not trying to force the ball downfield, he does play inside the offense pretty well.
Yeah.
He doesn't really seem to get panicked. He has pretty good poise, and he's pretty accurate, and his ball placement is good. So I think he's like all those things. I think make him a guy that can win you a game or two if you need it when your starter's out. But he's still. I don't think he can be a full-time starter, because he's just going to make those throws that you're just like going to rip your hair out watching him on TV, here and there. Like he's going to have back-breaking throws like that. But I think he is a guy that you can win with in a bind if you need to, and he can operate in the offense if he's not trying to chase the big play. So that was enough to get him to 5 for me. And with how bad the rest of the class is. But yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, like I think the timing is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
When he uses it.
That's the problem. He
That's
just
the problem.
doesn't do it enough. I get that. Yeah, it's frustrating.
And he does throw an accurate ball, and I do like he's a gritty, tough quarterback. I do like everyone made way too big a deal about him getting number 18 this year. But I do think like leadership is like a quality that he has. I think like he can be a good locker room guy.
Yeah.
I think he could stick around as a backup maybe in the league for a little bit for that reason. But he's not very athletic. Like the mobility is not there for someone that's 6'1", 202.
Yeah, you would definitely like to be a much better athlete than he is.
Yeah. That's kind of the issue, and I just don't think his processing ability is where it needs to be in order to make up for the physical limitations. So yeah, I have a 6th round grade on him for that reason. My comp is actually Sean Clifford.
Oh, not Sean Clifford.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think it's
not
Sean
Clifford.
There's some beautiful comps in this episode.
Not Clifford, the big green Packer.
Got Sean Clifford, Davis Mills, and Brian Hoyer.
Yeah.
What a class.
And hey, Sean Clifford got to start a couple of games because Matt LaFleur loved him for some reason.
Yeah, that was frustrating.
That happened.
Then he had to go get Malik Willis because he's like, I can't do this shit anymore.
No, because that's how you get fired.
Correct. Almost did anyway, but that's beside the point. I think Jake, you're the only one who hasn't given their number 4 before we get in the top 3, unless I'm counted wrong.
My 4 was Green.
Oh, so you were the one who had Green at 4. Sorry, so Dalton's the one who has to give us 4.
Yeah, I have not given my 4 yet.
Okay.
And I'm very surprised I haven't heard this name yet. I'm wondering if you guys are higher than me on this guy. Mark Gronowski, Iowa.
I did watch a little bit of him. I didn't see him as an NFL quarterback.
Oh.
Yeah, he was 13 for me. He would have been on.
Oh. Okay.
I really want to hear this because I did not see an NFL passer at all.
So I think like he wins. He finds ways to win.
I love that.
And like he's a tough runner. The deep ball's pretty solid. I will say the accuracy has improved significantly from last year to this year. Like I watched some of his South Dakota State tape because I was curious. And like he was just a great athlete that didn't really have a lot of accuracy. It got immensely better this year, and he's starting to play in rhythm a lot. However, obviously at 24, you wonder how much more developing he's going to do. The accuracy is still inconsistent. He relied heavily on his legs in college, and you don't know how much he's going to be able to do that. And the arm talent is kind of average. He's never really had to carry his team with his arm. I get that. There's a tendency to force throws, but man, the guy manages the game really well, and he finds ways to get the job done. And I just think I think he might still be improving. I think he's on a really good trajectory. And, I just think that there's a low-end starter to high-end backup here. For sure. I just feel like there's a really high ceiling or a really high floor on him. I think that's the big thing. I just think that's a guy that if you put the right talent around him, he's going to make it work. He just doesn't. I think the big thing is he doesn't make a ton of mistakes. He kind of just gets the team where it needs to go pretty consistently. I think that's the big thing for me. I think he could end up having a very Marcus Mariota-like career. And even when everything was going well, Mariota had that team in the playoffs, despite him not really being a starting caliber quarterback.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Yeah, he was QB 15 for me. UDFA grade is what I had on him. My comp for him is Taysom Hill. I think he has to do a Taysom Hill type of thing in the NFL. That's kind of. I think he's an athlete playing quarterback. I think he did a good enough job for Iowa, but I think there's a reason why he only threw so much at Iowa beyond just it being Iowa. I think there's a reason for that. I think he doesn't really see the field very well to me. The accuracy is better probably than it was at South Dakota State because he's moved up level and he had to be better at that if he's going to play at this level. But I didn't see the arm talent being anything more than you kind of said solid. It's fine. There's a lot of times where I feel like he sprayed throws that were pretty just guys throws you have to be able to make pretty consistently at the NFL level. He just, to me, it felt like he ran the offense at Iowa the way he did because that's how you have to run an offense with someone like him, and not because they just wanted to run the ball a lot with him. Maybe he'll get a chance to play in the NFL as quarterback. I'd be interested to see what it looks like because, again, I just didn't see a lot of NFL quarterback stuff from him. But it would be interesting for sure to see how they kind of do that if a team wanted to try on the quarterback.
Yeah, he was one of the guys I was more interested to watch, surprisingly, because I watched a lot of him at South Dakota State. I was really interested to see how that would translate to the FBS. But I think there's a lot of South Dakota State and North Dakota State are always dominating the FCS, and the quarterbacks don't have to do very much as a result. And I think he just kind of fits the mold of. I don't really know how much developing he did there, just because they're not playing any close games, and I mean he's running the ball a ton. And then watching that translate to Iowa, I mean, I watched 13 QBs and he was 13 for me, just because the arm strength isn't that great to me, and I just don't think he can really read the field. Like, I think he's very much like a one read type of quarterback and a pre snap determination type of quarterback. At least from what I saw in film, I just don't think he reads the entire field well, and there's not a ton of arm talent to make up for it. Like it's not bad, but I don't really see it translating that well to the NFL because I just think he's going to be pretty limited at that level.
Yeah, this was an interesting one. Yeah, I didn't expect to. I mean, maybe I'll have to watch more of him at Iowa because I watched a couple games of his. But again, you don't have to watch a lot of time to see all of his throws because he did throw the ball a lot at Iowa. If you want to watch just his Iowa tapes, maybe I'll have to watch more of him, see if I see something different with him.
But for an Iowa quarterback, I felt like he threw a fair amount.
I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, I wanted to pull this up because he's an interesting one, obviously, to talk about. He had 260 attempts, and he threw for, again, it was 1,700 yards, so 6.6 yards per attempt, 10 touchdowns, 7 picks. Again, those are the raw stats. Like, you take them or leave them. Very, very, very short average up the target. Turnover where they play right, didn't do a lot of that. Like, he did do a good job of not turning the ball over, but not many NFL throws on his tape. On the 3 games I watched, maybe 1 or 2 I saw, maybe a game at most. Okay. So, like, it was, again, but he's playing at Iowa. There's an element of that is interesting. Like, they're going to try to, a quarterback, especially recently, they wanted someone who could literally do anything. And he certainly did a lot for them, especially on the ground. Like, that's kind of why I get into the Taysom Hill of it all, because, like, is he probably a better overall passer than Hill is, especially when he was coming into the league? Maybe. Probably. But I think where he wins at the best and most consistently is with his legs. And I wonder if there's a role for him maybe in the NFL in some way like that, where he's more of a threat to actually throw the ball too, probably. So that's why I thought of that. Yeah.
I think he's good enough with his arm that, like, especially the direction the league's moving with more. I think if you put him in a pure West Coast system, I think he could be really dangerous.
I'm curious to see where the NFL lands on him because obviously it depends where you look, but most places don't have him in a draftable range. I didn't know if I'd land on that, and I kind of right now do if he's going to definitely play quarterback is kind of where I'm at. But I'd also take a flyer on him late in the draft to see what you get out of him too. So it'd be funny if the Saints took him and was like, hey, learn Taysom Hill stuff, Mark, if you could. That'd be kind of funny. I'm not going to lie. I don't think that's going to be what they do, but right, let's get into our top 3s, right? I imagine this is going to be roughly the same order. I could definitely hear an argument for it to be different from 2 and 3.
I think 2 and 3 could go either way.
I agree with that.
Grade for 2 and 3.
I roughly did too for different reasons, but I have Chambliss at 3.
Yeah, I did too.
He's 2 for me.
Okay,
barely, so I changed that recently.
And I think that's totally fair. I think they're pretty different prospects. I'm talking about Ty Simpson, who I'm assuming is my 2 and your 2, Jake, and your 3, Dalton.
Yes.
So we'll talk about both of these guys here before we get to our number 1, which was probably not in doubt, but you never know. But no, it was probably in doubt. I mean, if one of you would have been willing to put one of these guys over him, I would have been like, all right, all right, we could talk about it. No, but let's start with Chambliss here because he's the guy that I think obviously there's a lot of questions about whether he's going to be in this class, despite the fact that he definitely fucking should be. All right, the official position of the Draft Degenerates.
This would literally be
go to the NFL.
Like considering his career, like this is first year in the FBS, and then being the backup initially, and then just taking the job. Like his stock could not be higher than it is right now.
Literally, it's not possible for it to be higher. That's the thing about this, right? But yeah, you're right. Like, talk about the background, right? This is a quarterback from Ferris State originally, or at least past couple of years, I think.
0-star recruit.
Yep, comes in to Ole Miss, the backup to Austin, whatever his name was. I can't think of it right now. I think that was the first name of the guy, right? I can't remember right now, frankly. Very quickly overtakes him, I think, after the first week of the season, roughly, and is basically the starter from there on out, and for good reason. This was one of the best quarterbacks in college football last year. Honestly, you can make an argument for 2 or 3 probably behind Mendoza. It's just with him, there's obviously questions about the size, right? 6'2" is what he's listed. I'm betting it he's 5'11", probably, if I had to guess. Hopefully over 200 pounds, but you never know, right? But the thing about him is that he does have enough tools, especially as a thrower, where I'm not as concerned about the size. I'm sure that's kind of where you guys, especially Dalton, having it to kind of land with him.
Yeah. You want to go, Jake?
Yeah, sure. There is a lot to like about him as an athlete, obviously, and a thrower.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of RPO stuff with him. He has a strong arm, throws the ball with velocity. He's kind of unstoppable in like short down and distance situations, just with that combination of stuff. But there were a few things that just kept him from being number 2 for me. The biggest thing that I was worried about was I think he struggles with reads both pre and post snap.
Yeah.
And then I don't think he really uses his eyes. And those are things that can be fixed, but I just think it's a little bit of a road to get there. He doesn't. Something I noticed a lot when watching film is when he's making checks or something at the line of scrimmage, he kind of always looks to the sideline at the coaches. And you know, I don't know how
in college, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not. I don't know how they run it specifically at Ole Miss. So that made me a little worried that he might not have as much experience just kind of making those adaptations himself. And I think that would be something that will need to be developed more in the NFL. He kind of struggles a little bit with like post snap rotations and stuff. And then I just don't think he really uses his eyes very often to he doesn't necessarily stare down receivers, but I would like to see him maybe like try to move a safety with his eyes more.
Yeah, manipulate players
like
and
that.
move them out of spaces. Yeah.
Yeah. And these are all things that I think are correctable. Like I'm still very excited about him, and I wish he was coming out this year because he still could, I guess, but
it's all up to the court system now. It's the new era.
Yeah.
Now the courts decide who goes to the draft and who doesn't.
Just those I have worries both pre and post snap with him in terms of just reading the defense, which is kind of hard for me to get past. And there is the undersized thing. I'm not like super worried about that.
The tools are good enough where I'm not as worried about it being a big issue. Like there's the element of like, is he going to be able to see over the middle of the field and hit consistently, all that good stuff. But that's just something anyone who's smaller is going to have to deal with when moving to the NFL. The tools are plenty good enough. Like they're better than a lot of guys who are going to be a whole like, oh no, he's 2 inches shorter than Garrett Nussmeier. Who gives a shit at that point? Like he's better than him, so I don't care. Like that's kind of the thing, right? But Dalton, I know you have him too, so I want to let you talk about it here.
So Jake just described every Lane Kiffin quarterback and every Lane Kiffin offense.
Yeah.
Just to a T. Like that's the thing. Like, you're gonna do exactly what Lane tells you to do. And every play, there's gonna be somebody open because the scheme, everything's designed to have a certain guy open, and you know exactly where you're going with the ball. So that's something that's going to give him a huge learning curve, and which is why, because he's already 24, he needs to get out of that right away and get into the NFL and start learning how to play real NFL football. Because that's not. It's the issue with every player that comes from Ole Miss on offense. Like every Ole Miss receiver, we have to figure out if they know how to create separation for themselves because Lane does it for them. For quarterbacks, it was the same thing with Dart. We have to figure out if they actually know how to process because Lane does it for them. But the athleticism and how dangerous he is as a runner obviously is huge. But then the ball placement, and also I think the biggest thing is the way he manages the game. He takes care of the football, and he just constantly puts his team in a good situation, I feel like. And I do think he manages Lane's offense really well. And, another guy who I think is just a winner. He's a guy that is going to find ways to win games. But, I mean, being 24 as a rookie and definitely needing to sit a year is kind of why I don't think you can really have him higher than a second-round grade.
But
I
really did too.
Yeah.
I do think the ceiling on him is very high, but he needs to come out. And, we were wondering why he's not. Well, I was looking into it. So, say he gets say he gets picked 40th overall.
Yeah, roughly
So
a good range for
4
him.
years of his rookie contract. He would make this year, or he would make $11.8 million. If he comes back and plays at Ole Miss, just this 1 year at Ole Miss, he can make as much as $6 million.
Yeah.
So, I get it. And also now we have to wonder, does the NFL need to go back to the old contracts where they're giving these rookies?
Oh, dude, you can't go back to that. I don't think.
We're giving Jamarcus Russell $70 million in 2008 money,
which is, listen, the rookie wage scale. I'm not saying you can't upgrade it a little bit more or whatever, but you cannot go back to paying guys who've never stepped foot in the game $70 million, and nowadays it'd be $200 million.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be we can't give first-round pick quarterbacks $30 million a year contracts. Teams will never be teams will stay bad forever.
Literally, it would bankrupt the game. They would destroy everything. As much as that sucks, it just is true. But I get, though, with Chambliss too. I know that I'm pretty sure the offensive coordinator is still going to be there, right? Weiss Jr. is he staying there?
Yeah.
So the offense will probably be at least somewhat different without Lane there, right?
Hopefully
it won't be quite as just bulletproof and don't have to do nothing. I know where I'm going, and that's the one argument
for him.
Also, that's the argument could be made that developing into a little bit more could make sense. The problem is you're 24 years old already, bro.
Yeah.
If you were a redshirt junior and you were 22 and this was your first year starting at SEC, which it is for him in that case, then I would totally understand giving it another shot, especially if you're going to get paid $6 million to do it. But your best chance, if you want to be an NFL, and who knows, he might shock us all and be like, yeah, I'm done. I'm good. I made my $6 million. I'm done playing football. I don't think that's the case. But let's say unless that's the case, you got to go take your shot now, because if the quarterback class is even if we get 60% of the way there of what we think it could be next year, he's not going in the first 3 rounds probably. That's just probably what's going to happen.
Probably not, because he'll be 25.
That's what I'm saying. There just would be so many guys who teams can talk themselves into ahead of him next year if he waits another year. And right now, he might start for the Dolphins tomorrow. Let me put that. If they took him in the second round, they may be yeah, you're just the starter, dude. Figure it out.
But also, he might, and why I don't think Dante Moore came out this year, he also might end up having to start for the Jets next year.
That's also possible, which would be a problem.
Yeah. Unless if a certain team that one of us is a fan of takes him and sits him behind a veteran for a year, and he learns and then gets to immediately go play on a team whose floor is 8, or whose floor is 9 and 8, with a quarterback guru head coach.
Quarterback guru. Yeah.
Honestly, it's a perfect situation for him.
Yeah. No. Steelers, the next time the Steelers take a quarterback, if it's not in the top 10, it should be nowhere. And that's why they'll never take one, because they won't be in the top 10 ever. So I'm doomed to just watch whatever 38-year-old is on the market play quarterback for my team every year.
But you don't. Why wouldn't you want Chambliss to sit for a year and then start?
I don't view him as a high enough ceiling player to change the outcome of the Steelers' franchise trajectory.
Yeah, that's fair.
We're just going to still win 9 or 10 games a year just for different reasons then. Like that's what's going to happen with McCarthy is whoever plays quarterback, like the offense is just going to be better than it's been because he isn't terrible, which is what everyone else has been trying to do with this offense. And now the defense is probably going to take a step back because even though Patrick Graham is there, all the players that have held the defense together are about to be 40 fucking years old, Dalton, or bad, one of the two. And so it doesn't matter if the defense starts to like stays together for a little bit because they're eventually going to fall off, and then the offense is going to be the one that's holding the team together just enough to win 9 games. It's just going to be the same thing but different. And boy, am I happy about that. It's great. Yeah, I definitely don't want Clint Kubiak to be my head coach instead of Mike McCarthy. God damn it. Anyway, congrats, I guess, for now until it blows up, which I hope it doesn't, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm reserving my excitement.
I think that's fair. Just a couple other thoughts with Chambliss here before we get to Ty Simpson, who we know is number 2 for Jake and I and 3 for Dalton. Again, he's a really good athlete. He does need refinement, but I think that's going to come at the NFL level quicker than it will him going back to Ole Miss, regardless of how different the offense is. He's a fearless passer. Like he really just will rip shit that like even he probably necessarily shouldn't do sometimes, but it works for him for the most part because he does have enough arm talent to do it, opposed to like the Sawyer Robertsons of the world and other guys we talked about in the show. Like he actually has the justification to try to do those things because it works for him. He's a true like early day 2. Like this could be a starter, could end up not being one, but like worth the chance in like the Tyler Shuck range last year, right? Like that's the type of like range we're looking at for a guy like this. And not too dissimilar Ty Simpson from Alabama. Jake, like you said, you have him at 2. I have him at 2, Dalton at 3. I think if there was a quarterback that if you told me, hey, you have to take a quarterback in the 20 to 32 range in this class, and it's not Mendoza, obviously, because he's going 1. Simpson is just the answer to that for me because I think there's more room to grow with him than Chambliss, even though I think Chambliss is better than him right now, right? And I think like a team like the Rams has been brought up a lot because they have that extra first-round pick. Well, really it's their first-round pick, but they have the higher one from the Falcons trade. Taking a chance on him, I think that's totally fine. But like someone in that range from like the 20s on, I would be okay with taking him, with the hope that he doesn't have to play immediately because I really don't think he should.
No.
Like that's the thing, is whoever takes him, which that's the problem. Every time that happens, I've said the same thing about Jackson Dart last year. The Giants took him. Now that worked out a little bit better than I thought. I'm still not sold on him. I know it's not a lot of people are. I'm certainly not. Not especially now that Matt Nagy's freaking calling the offense for. What is that about, by the way? That's a whole other conversation. But yeah, that Simpson to me is that type of quarterback. Like take a flyer on him late in the first round if you want to get that 5th-year option in case he works out. And if you are a team that already has a quarterback, especially, doesn't necessarily need him to work out for your franchise to not completely fold, that would be great.
Yeah, I have him in Chambliss pretty close. Like I have a late first.
I have early date.
On Simpson
and
early second. The biggest thing for me between the two is I just think Simpson's game might translate a little easier to the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't have the same concerns with him being able to read a defense that I do with Chambliss. His timing is good. Like he's finishing his dropbacks right when receivers are making their breaks. He plays pretty poised, doesn't really get panicked at all. And one of the biggest things I was impressed with was his pocket awareness. He, whether it's coming off the edges in front or behind of him, he just kind of always has a sense for what's happening around him in the pocket. He processes things pretty quickly, I thought, and his passes are pretty accurate. So I think all of those things make it like an easier entrance to the NFL for him than Chambliss. And I don't necessarily think he has a higher ceiling, but like there are some things that I worry about. He's not athletic, but it's not a strong point of his game. He doesn't deal with pressure up the middle that well. So there are concerns, but I just think that his game it'll be easier for him to run an offense at first, I think, than Chambliss. And again, I don't necessarily think he has a higher ceiling, but I think if you're looking for a QB that can kind of step in and not take too long to grow. I think that could be Ty Simpson, just because I think most of his positives are things that are really desired at the NFL level.
He's more translatable, I think, for sure.
The processing definitely jumps off the tape right away. The anticipation, like he does a lot of those things really well. Good vision, good escapability too, like you mentioned, Jake. And the issue for me with him is that the one big flaw I saw is it's a combination of two things. One, off-platform accuracy was not good, and part of that too is he creates way more off-platform throws for himself than he needs to, because he's got a really bad habit of happy feet.
Yeah,
like he just does not keep his feet planted.
He's erratic,
and it makes throws so much tougher for himself, and that's a habit I think he can break. And I think the big reason why I really wouldn't want to take him in the first round, and why I think he should have, like, of all people that should have stayed for a year,
he definitely could have
this
stayed.
is the guy, because like he definitely isn't ready to play right away, but I think the things that he needs to work on, he needs reps to do that, and I think he needs reps at the college pace of the game in order to correct things like that. For example, like his footwork, he can correct because he's processing at a higher level than everybody else in the field. He can sit there, relax a little bit more, and I think that can help correct that. The problem is, if he's going to go to the NFL, and if he plays right away, he's going to be jumping all over the place, and he's going to get really erratic. And I just don't know how you're going to break him of that. In practice reps and playing in preseason twice a year.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. Like, he's certainly a guy that, like, I have him at 2, but I would have rather him go back to school. Like, I'd much rather see Dante Moore be my number 2 quarterback. And not that he couldn't value going back to school too, but like, I'd feel much better about him coming out than I do about Simpson coming out.
Yeah,
right?
I would.
Yeah, for sure.
I would take Dante Moore in the first round
for sure.
No problem. Like he was he almost got a top 10 grade from me, but ended up just being a pure first round grade. But like, yeah, that guy was ready. And again, Trinidad Chambliss, there's nothing he's gonna do
to Ole Miss especially
come back. Yeah. Ty Simpson absolutely could have benefited from another year.
He could be at Miami right now instead of Darian Mensah,
who also probably should. Well, I mean, now his issue was that he shouldn't have been allowed to. He signed a contract with Duke.
Yeah, and they were just like, never mind, I guess, basically, and like, all right, cool. And him and Cooper Barkate get to go play in the sun in Miami.
Yeah, Cooper Barkate, who also should definitely be in the
probably. No, I'm going to read my notes on him real quick because I haven't done this with quarterbacks yet because I feel like it's not as valuable in this show format. But talented overall athlete and passer with above average tools, excels at attacking middle of the field. That's something that I wanted to make a note of, especially like he in this class, at least the guys have come out. I don't think anyone targets middle of the field as effectively as he does. And that's part of the processing element of things. Like he really loves throwing the ball in that part of the field and does a really good job of doing so. Fearless in attempting passes in tight windows. Arm has enough juice to push the ball down the field and outside the numbers. Good athlete overall. I think he could be involved in the run game a little bit, but mostly as a scrambler. I think he can get stuff done. Solid touch on his passes. Struggles mightily under pressure, like especially once it is in his face for sure. Like the outside pressure he can sometimes be good with, but that's where the erraticness kind of shows up, Dalton, especially is when he's under pressure. He doesn't really feel it as well as I'd like him to. That's something he, again, would have benefited from dealing with more at the college level before coming to the NFL, but whatever. Puts the ball in harm's way too often through fumbles, especially. Like, he really just – the fumbles were – some of them were chaotically bad. Like, truly, like, what the hell are you doing, bro? And, like, that's something you can't be doing a ton at the NFL level, obviously. We see that kind of mess guys up a lot. And again, he needs at least a year before he would play, I think. Like, I think he needs at least a full season of not having to play football, which that sucks because I'd rather him be playing football in college and getting more reps instead of that. But I think for him to survive in the NFL and not pick up even more bad habits, you would have to sit him for a while. So Hopefully that's kind of what happens. I have a bad feeling he's going to end up being a Jet at 16. That's something that I fear is going to start picking up steam more and more, and that would certainly be bad.
Yeah, because it'll start right away, and it'll be terrible.
Yeah, he's certainly coming out of camp as a starter because that regime needs someone to save them, and I don't think it's going to be Ty Simpson, unfortunately, but they will try. So, yeah.
I hate to helmet scout, but a weird like comp I have is almost as if you just took Mac Jones and Bryce Young and stuffed them both in a blender, you get Ty Simpson.
You know what? Yeah, because
Bryce Young and Mac Jones, yeah.
There you go. And hey, those are two guys who started games for the NFL last year, so maybe that's good.
You get Mac Jones' grittiness with a little more of the talent.
Two guys who have started playoff games too.
This is true. Two guys who have started playoff games and did pretty well.
Yeah, I didn't mean that as an insult. To be very clear.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just kind of what he is, and it's fun.
Yeah.
I think he's just very undercooked right now.
Left didn't leave him in the oven long enough.
No,
damn.
No, because he sat behind Jalen Milroe for a while, which kind of not sure about that.
Hey, listen,
watching him play for
Jalen Milroe is going to be your favorite running back in 3 years. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. We'll see with him. Well, I mean, with Seattle, who knows? It certainly won't probably be Seattle.
Starting in 18 months.
It's fair, depending on what Sam Darnold does, but also I can't say anything bad about Sam Darnold because he's about to play in the Super Bowl, and he looked real damn good. Oh, probably. You think?
Yeah, because the Patriots aren't that good.
As Dalton has said many a time. Let's talk about the number one quarterback in the class, consensus number one quarterback class, and the consensus number one overall pick until proven otherwise for some reason. To your Las Vegas Raiders, Dalton, Jake. Fernando Mendoza in the championship game, what I called him a lot in that during that, especially at that really sick touchdown run to kind of keep things in his hands. He is a very unique number one overall prospect, and I'm saying unique and not in a necessarily bad way, but more so in a way of this is not your typical number one overall draft pick in the modern NFL. Correct. He is much more. I'm not comping him to this player when I say this, but he's much more in the if we're trying to figure out what he looks like, plays like, much more in the Kirk Cousins realm of pocket passers versus the Caleb Williams of the world and guys like that, and the Cam Wards even last year, of the much more playmaker type, right? And the just massive tools type. That's not Fernando Mendoza. But that does not mean that he is not going to be successful as a number one pick. But I do think he is not in that same tier of prospect and same tier of player.
Yeah, I agree. For what it's worth, for what it's worth, I would have last year probably had him as my QB1. If I was taking him and putting him in that class. But in the 2023 class, for example, he'd have probably been QB3 behind Williams and May.
Right. And I probably would have had in that similar range. Last year, I might have gone for the upside of Ward just because of the nature of the position, but I do think they would have come into very similar grades for me. Again, this is a throwback player in a lot of ways. This is a guy who plays the game a lot more like guys in the NFL who are 30 and older than the guys who are under 30 play. And that's not a bad thing.
No, a lot of those guys are starting.
Exactly. It is not a bad thing. It's just different, right? This is different than we've seen from a lot of the top guys, that come out in some of the better classes we've seen over the past, especially decade. But I think he is in this class, especially, and with where the Raiders are at. I do think that you kind of do have to make the pick at one and make him the quarterback. Yeah. It would be great if they didn't have to, I think, because again, you would maybe have a higher upside option in the next 2 or 3 classes. But I do think he is someone that you're not going to be able to pass up just because you hope that someone is better coming down the line. So with that being said, I want to let you guys start this conversation about him as an actual player because you guys are about to watch a whole lot of him in the next couple of years, hopefully. So
yeah, I like the Kirk Cousins comparison. I saw somebody the other day call him Matt Ryan with a little more mobility. I kind of like that as well. It's not exactly a perfect match, but I just think he definitely is that throwback sort of quarterback. But yeah, they have to make this pick because he's not the most tantalizing, like number one overall prospect in recent memory, but he just does so many things that are important to playing quarterback in the NFL well that I think you have to take him. He processes things really well, especially after the snap. He just understands the game well. The arm talent is there. He has a good feel for pressure. Um, he can still make accurate throws under pressure. He's not scared. Like he'll stand in and take hits to make throws. Um, the mobility, it's not anything crazy, but like he will get yards when plays break down from here and there. So that's a plus as well. It's just so many traits that I think will translate well to the league that I think he has a pretty high floor. I don't think his ceiling is necessarily like sky high, but all those traits do give him a really high floor to me. I didn't really have too many concerns with him. I thought he could have been a little bit better at just kind of looking defenders off. Like he understands things post snap pretty well, but I would like to see him use his eyes a little bit more. And his mobility just like he is athletic enough to get it done, but he's not a quarterback that's going to run all over defenses at the next level. But other than that, his ceiling isn't through the roof, but I do think he will be a solid NFL quarterback for years to come, which makes it so. I mean, the Raiders haven't had that in quite a while, so they kind of have to take him at number one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I mean, the floor is just so high. I mean, the prototypical frame, obviously, and surprising mobility, I think, for 6'5", 225. But then, I mean, the big things are like, I mean, all the NFL quarterback traits jump off the screen, decisive, quick release, pretty big arm, like pretty good throw power, especially like just like not necessarily like the 50-yard balls down the sideline, which he can hit fine. But like I think the power jumps off in how quickly the ball gets to those 20 and 30-yard passes over the middle.
Yeah, he makes the far hash throws to the outside really look simple compared to a lot of quarterbacks in this class.
Yeah, that 15 to 20-yard dig route, it gets there in a hurry. And I think that's something that's like, I mean, that's just something you see in the NFL all the time. And I think, the ball placement solid. And also, I know I've said this for a couple of guys. He's another guy that I think, the national championship game was a good example of it. Finds ways to win games. Like that is, I mean, when I don't really subscribe to the whole wins or QB stat that much, but like in tight games, you don't want to be the reason why your team loses games.
There's an element of like, and I think that's an interesting conversation to bring up because like generally quarterback wins is a bad stat. It's a really awful thing to be trying to use as like a way to like determine how good quarterbacks are, right? Especially. But I think there is a certain way about like, for example, this is a can of worms that we probably don't need to open, but like, I don't think that Tom Brady is the greatest actual like player at his position of all time on the field necessarily from a talent perspective. But no one has ever played winning football to the consistency and the level that he did in his career.
Correct.
He played the game a certain way that allowed him to minimize how badly he impacted losing. Right.
Exactly.
And that's what I do think that Mendoza has a similar, not to Brady's level, but he plays in a way that helps his team avoid those backbreaking mistakes in those moments.
Correct. That's kind of the biggest thing. And also like that trait, especially I think something that's really developed for him from his time at Cal to this year. Also his handling of pressure, which I'll get into in a second. But I mean the Cal tape, which I watched, I mean, that's an early day 3 guy. His Cal
probably.
tape. Like, I mean, realistically, and now, I have a top 5 grade on him because there's really, like Jake said, not a lot of concerns. The only ones I have, the pressure is still, especially the accuracy under pressure, is still sometimes not great, but I mean, that's every NFL quarterback. I just think at his build. He's just not as equipped to handle it. But also I just do wonder, like, I do think he's a guy kind of like Kirk Cousins, where if you're not protecting him, like it's gonna be kind of rough, and that's probably the biggest worry about him going to the Raiders. My other concern, I think, and this is just because the improvement from 2024 to 2025 was so massive. A lot of it is definitely him. Like, I think he got coached better, and I think he just developed and took another step to his game and was around other talented players, didn't have to press as much. I think he got better, but you do have to wonder how much of this is like, I still don't think we know exactly like how much Cignetti's doing, and I think it's clearly a lot. We just don't know how much for this guy. For Mendoza, we don't know, for example, and how much of it too is he had 3 receivers at his disposal that are all going to be in the NFL either this year or next year. Like,
it helps, but
that helps a lot.
It really does. But I think what it allowed him to do is I think it allowed him to maximize the things that he does well, right? And one of those things, this is another player that I think it's worth reading my notes on him, because I think it just gives you a really clear picture of what he does well and what he doesn't. Tall, traditional pocket passer that is rare among draft prospects this decade. Above average arm, allows him to push the ball down the field into the sidelines, throws the back shoulder as well as any prospect you will ever see. But maybe relies on it sometimes too much. But again, when you can spam it the way that he can, it's kind of like, of course you're going to. Doesn't seem nearly as willing to attack the middle of the field as he does outside the numbers, I will say. I do want to see him do that more. I think he's okay at it when he does it, but he just didn't really have to do it a ton in Indiana's offense. Accuracy is very good overall, but I'd like to see him place the ball a little bit better when he is throwing to the middle of the field. Lacks ability to throw in the run or off platform at a high level. That kind of feeds into the under pressure concerns for you, Dalton, where because he isn't this like hyper flexible, like limber athlete as a thrower, he sometimes has trouble whenever he's off his spot and when he's on the run to keep the same level of accuracy and arm talent in those situations. So as it's something, it's going to be important to be able to protect him. Better athlete though than usual for this type of player, especially from a passing perspective. Usually guys that are this high level in the areas he is high level at, they're usually very much statuesque, generally speaking. But he is able to run for first downs and can be used on the occasional design run like we saw in the championship. I think you can surprise teams with that every so often. He's tough. He'll get first downs for you that way. Processing is really, really good outside the numbers and deep down the field. Again, middle of the field, I do want to see him get better at that. That's something that flashed a couple of times where I feel like he didn't quite get the ball where he wanted to, sometimes passed up stuff in the middle of the field, but a lot of their offense was predicated on getting guys down the field to the sidelines and throwing short, if not doing that. So
I also wonder too if Cignetti is just like one of those coaches. It's like, you don't throw the ball into the middle of the field.
He might
never
be
put the ball in danger.
He might be, and like it. To be fair, at the college level, you can kind of get away with it a lot better than the NFL level. So that doesn't even mean he can't do it, because when he showed flashes of it, it's not that he didn't do it at all or something like that. But I wonder if that's something that he'll have to kind of develop a little bit more as he plays in the league longer. So, and that will do, and especially with Kubiak coming in, that's something he'll have to get better at too. So,
yeah, I mean the Cignetti offense is very like risk averse. Like,
yes,
it very much is. So I wonder how much of a factor that is, and that's kind of the trickiest thing with him, is he played 1 year in this team that I think kind of has to go down as one of the best college football teams ever. I mean, they're the first college football team to go 16-0 in a season.
I believe so, right? I don't think anyone else has done that yet, right?
Yeah.
Which hey, I mean, good freaking football team, man. A lot of NFL players. I will say that Omar Cooper's junior stock is rising. I love it. I'm having a good time with that.
Yeah, I gotta adjust some stuff because like my Surratt take is I'm probably gonna have to dig him.
I still like him.
Yeah, but he had some rough drops.
He did. He really did. It was weird. I'm like, God, it's kind of been that kind of year for him though. Overall, like his catching metrics weren't as good this year as they were the year before.
I mean,
so, like,
the problem is he's a body catcher. That's like my biggest
part of it
complaint about him.
So, but yeah, I mean, I still like him. I don't think I'll move him around too much, but I do like where I am happy with where I have Cooper. I will say that. He's fun for sure. But no, Indiana had a ton of talent, but I do think Mendoza does stand on his own totally fine, well enough to be.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
pick there.
Cali still looked really good.
Yeah, the talent's definitely there. But we did it. Okay, guys, we did it. We got through the offense. We are fully on to defense next week. You know, I do think that's where we're going to have more fun for sure in this class, watching players,
especially up front.
Yep. Speaking of which, we will be moving to specifically the interior of the defensive line, the big boys. That will be our first defensive episode. Again, hopefully next Tuesday, if everything works out. That'll be when you guys see us again. And we will be getting into those guys. Should be a lot of fun. I know there's some guys that had really good days at the Senior Bowl, guys that are just, have a lot of hype in this class. I will say, I am curious how many guys we have as like truly like even early day 2 / late day 1 type of guys. We're first gonna have a couple premium players in this class at that spot, but I haven't watched any of them yet, so I cannot say it honestly at this point.
I think the tricky thing is, what is an interior defensive lineman?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna find out, aren't we?
There's some that sometimes they play 2 technique, and sometimes they play outside linebacker.
And guess what? That's just what it is at this point, man. Defense is an enigma. What is a defensive lineman really anymore, right? Does it matter? I guess we'll find out. I like to think that there's still pretty decent slots we can slide these guys into. I will say one name that is going to be a popular one in this discussion. I'm going to evaluate Ruben Bain as an edge rusher only for now, because I think he earned the respect to do that until proven otherwise, and I might just throw him into the rankings later if I think he also could play there. So
I agree. Yeah. Mine, the one I was wondering is Peter Woods.
Well, I'm pretty sure he's 300 pounds, so I'm going to make him an interior player until he's not.
But they have him play in space so
Here's
much.
the thing, Dalton. Clemson is weird. I don't know what to do with it. I'm going to evaluate him where I think he should play in the NFL until told otherwise. That's the only thing you can do.
Last year, they dropped him into coverage.
Yeah, well,
a lot. And
college defense
kind of worked.
So, hey, good for them. But I think college defenses are kind of not real, and you got to just be like, I mean, hell, Will Anderson played 4-eye like 90% of the time for Alabama. Who gives a shit who plays where anymore? You just got to evaluate what they're good at this point. Like, sometimes college defenses are just really banging their head against the wall trying to make anything happen. So, sometimes you just got to make it work. But no, it should be fun. We'll get into that, and we'll probably do edge right after that, obviously, just to finish those guys out. That's a whole other conversation, because what is an edge rusher anymore? Are they 230 pounds? Sometimes, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a few that are basically safeties to play edge.
Hey, modern NFL, right? Anyway, we'll see you guys next time. It will be fun to get into the defense finally.